You know what happens when you start breaking down a lot of tanks? You realize a number of things that you will never put in a tank again. Well, welcome back to the Smallscape. Yes, if you are familiar with this channel or Primetime Aquatics, you know that we are doing a lot of changing around in the fish room downstairs, removing a number of tanks and replacing them with single tanks, like one on each wall. It's going to become a gallery. It's really exciting. And then back here, this has not been broken down yet, but it will all change. Everything will be very exciting. But with regards to nano tanks is my focus, and I've been looking at a lot of tanks that are going to be moving or we're going to change, and there are a number of things that I've realized I am never putting in a nano tank again. Never say never, but generally speaking, I will probably be very leery of these 5 things. I am curious what you think of them. Some of them you may be very familiar with, but I do know that there are some new fish keepers here that would maybe it would just be really helpful if they knew about these. Kind of put a little warning on these items. Starting with number 1, I'm just not going to say it. I'm going to put it up on the screen. You can read it, no matter how I pronounce it. Now, I've taken a lot of German. I'm half German, but I just don't think that my accent is good enough to warrant saying it correctly. But this plant, I do happen to love it. It grows very quickly. If you're looking to maybe propagate plants, fill up plants into a number of tanks, even sell plants, this one I think grows very well. It is actually in that tank right there, and that's the reason why I will never keep it again. Well, actually, that's the second tank that I've kept it in. This one, it did great for a while. It really grew. However, I think the tank might be getting too much light coming in from the window. Something is happening, but whenever you get detritus, any kind of algae, your plant is going to like it, and it's all going to get intermixed, and you're going to want to remove some of the algae, make it look really neat, but then you're going to be removing a lot of your plant, and it's sad. So either it's going to cause you a lot of work to divide them up, make your tank look pretty again. If you struggle with any kind of algae or anything going on in that tank. And then also the first issue I had in my 20 long that I had it downstairs in, it just would not stay put. Here I had a little wad, stuck it in between 2 branches. It stayed, it multiplied really great. I really enjoyed it for a while. But downstairs, it just flew all around the tank. So if you have a lot of flow and it's not very, you haven't stuck it in really very well and well placed, it will break apart and go all over your tank. Just an FYI. Number 2 is something that you are probably very familiar with, and it's the world of the floating plants. But in nano tanks, you have less room, especially at the top of that tank, that fish can get to their food, fish can get oxygen, all that stuff. So especially with our best friend, least friend, duckweed. Those who know, duckweed is the gift that just keeps on giving. But with nano tanks, when you start out, you may think, oh, that's really cute. I did. I thought it was the cutest plant I had ever seen. So super tiny, but it multiplies at night, in the morning, in the afternoon, all day long. Even when you think you've eradicated it, it comes back again. Yes, you can. You can remove it. I did a video how you can. You just got to stay on top of it, remove whatever you can see. The next day, go back in, remove whatever you can. But it's a stinker. Difficult to remove. I do have tricks how to remove it. Any video that I think will be helpful, I'll try and put up there or down there or something like that. But especially with floating plants and nano tanks, you have to be really careful because they do multiply fast, and it can cause you additional work. If you love to putz around in your tank, hey, you might be like, yeah, that's really fun. It's worth it. But even like Salvinia minima, that can really propagate very quickly. Frog bit, all of those are really fun, but just keep in mind, the smaller the tank, the more you might want to not do floating plants. Number 3, I think about this every time I look at this little item in my tank, and that is I don't even know what it's called. It's by Penplax, and I am kicking myself. I want to say at the last Aquashella, we were talking to somebody from Penplax, and it just didn't, I'm like, there is something with that name. And he's like, yeah, what do you think? You know, hey, just talking shop and stuff. and it was not clicking that you're the dude, that's the company that puts out these bridges, these cute little things that are supposed to grow plants. They did not for me. They have for some of you. Good for you. I'm kind of jelly, but I didn't even think to bring it up. I have been meaning to send them a letter like, hey, what's up? Or at least change the packaging. The packaging doesn't tell you what kind of plant will supposedly grow on there, what conditions it probably likes. Probably CO2 or high light, because this is probably kind of like a Monte Carlo sort of plant that requires more than like a kit tank. And these items, I think they are marketed to the beginner. They're in a little tiny box. They look really easy. Nothing says advanced. And it just says cute. Oh my gosh. I mean, who's starting off in the hobby doesn't want a little bridge or something for your fish to be swimming through? I think everybody should still want that. I do have a decent sized scape coming up that will showcase that, but I digress. The Penplax is just, it looks kind of cute in my tank, but every single time I look at it, I just feel like a bad gardener. I do. I just feel like I failed. I feel like a failure when I look at it and I say, darn it, I did not grow any plants on there. Does it serve a purpose? Yeah, you can still use it. It's got that fuzzy, kind of Velcro-y, I don't know what you would call it, kind of fuzzy material that can help attach some anubias. I have a little tiny anubias stuck to the side of it. Yeah, you can get around it, but did it grow plants for me? No, and it just says I'm a failure. Number 4 is something that I've seen at, I want to say PetSmart, but I don't think I've seen it at Petco. I call it the fake moss ball. I got this way back when, probably when I said, oh, that's really cute. I wouldn't do it again. I would not put one of these in my tank again. And I can't wait to dismantle this tank that my beloved green neons are in when they get moved to their new home. But I look at it every time and I laugh and I say, why? It really just looks like a rolled up sock in your tank. It looks fake. The color is fake. It's fuzzy. It looks furry. It looks like a rolled up sock. So will I ever get it? No. Now if you really need the moss ball and you were afraid of those little zebra mussels, they're no more. They've fixed the problem. It's all okay. You can go and find moss balls again, but there's just nothing to replace having an actual live moss ball. To rejuvenate them, if they get covered in algae or whatever, you rinse them out under the sink. If you want to give them a little spa treatment, put them in the refrigerator for a while. They'll love you. They're just wonderful little pets. Love them to pieces, but don't get the fake moss ball. At least I wouldn't. And number 5, this is my favorite, that when we were breaking down tanks and getting ready to break down tanks, I said, I can't wait to get rid of that and it will never go into one of my tanks again. Nano, large, any tank whatsoever, and that is the infamous painted gravel. You can get it in any color. When we set up the 150 eons ago, I'm the one who picked the blue gravel. I wanted blue gravel. I wanted it to look like an ocean floor. Okay. But then it became kind of white, kind of blue, kind of black, it just changes color. The paint comes off, gross. And now in my tanks that I really kind of inherited from Mr. Primetime, I didn't put it in there. The gravel was in there, but it's yuck. It doesn't stay true to color, and who knows where that paint's going. Just get regular pea gravel, just more natural kind of gravel or sand. Just stick with the natural substrates, way better. You'll be happier in the long runs, because we all reuse our sand and our gravel. Who doesn't have buckets and buckets of this stuff in the garage? We do. So those are my 5 things that I would never put in a nano tank again. At least I would be very leery of. I'm curious, what are your thoughts? Do you agree? Do you not agree? Are there some of these things that you really love? Do you love the plant that will remain nameless, that I will not say? Do you have you had really good luck with it? Do you love floating plants? I don't know. Part of me really does. I just would be very careful with these things, and I'm curious to know your thoughts. But thanks so much for watching, and I will see you next time.